Welcome to the Data Dojo podcast, hosted by Adam Massey and powered by the Aurek Group. Every week, we dive deep into the world of data, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Here, we bring you conversations with the leading minds who are shaping the future of these cutting-edge fields. So get ready to unlock the secrets of data and discover the stories behind the algorithms.
Hi there, and welcome to the Data Dojo podcast. I'm your host, Adam Massey. With Christmas just around the corner, I've got a really exciting episode for you today. This week, I'm joined by Jason Tam. He's a former data scientist turned founder, advisor, and creator in the AI space. In this episode, Jason's going to share his journey from working deep within enterprise organizations to building out and scaling his own AI products. In this episode, we're going to talk openly and honestly about the difficulties technical professionals have when it comes to communication and putting themselves out there. And we also dive into some of the biggest mistakes people make when they try to start their own business on the side. Now, if you're a data professional and you're looking for some really insightful tips and what steps you can take to get yourself out there and perhaps start your own business, then this is a really great episode for you. So please like and subscribe and enjoy the episode. Have a great Christmas, everyone. Bye-bye. Hey, Jason, welcome to the Data Dojo podcast. Pleasure to have you on. How are you today?
I am great, Adam. Thank you for having me. Super excited to be this.
Awesome. So obviously we've been speaking a while about putting this episode together. I think for those who don't know you, it might be quite helpful for you to kind of give a quick overview of the work you've been doing and your journey to date.
So, I started my career working as a data scientist with the actuaries at Suncorp many, many years ago. And I built the algorithm pricing. I did in the data engineering. So, part of the reason for the listener where they felt that the home insurance or the motor vehicle insurance is so expensive, you know what? I'm sorry. But over the years, after working there for a number of years, I left the corporate and do a couple of things. I did data consulting and data engineering, data advanced analytic consulting, all those sort of things. And along the way, I discovered something new as well. I end up building a Gen AI product. It's called Engage.ai, where it helps people to build relationship on LinkedIn, especially for the B2B businesses. And part of the reason why I built that equally was that I find that technical people, technical professional like myself, or the accountant, the finance people, where a lot of those professionals where it require deep technical knowledge, and a lot of people are really good at it, which is great. But equally, a lot of those people are not very good in communicating. And I was one of those. Like, I used to be the person who, like, you know what, Adam, leave me alone. I'll get the system done for you. You know, exactly how I would as well. But you go and deal with the people. I'll fix the system. I'll get the data. I'll build the algorithm. But you go and deal with the people. So part of the reason when I built Engage AI is really want to help those people. And I'm so glad that lots of people agree with it. I bootstrap and scale it to 100,000 people. And now I am moving on. I'm doing something new. So yeah, that's about me.
Well, it's a pretty unique journey, I guess, taking it from, working for large enterprises, then sort of setting up your own company. What was that kind of transition like for you?
Oh, I would say that was a bumpy road. So in the early day when I started out, it was pretty good in a way that because I had built my reputation within Suncorp with many people. So as a result of that, those people who were still at Suncorp or who left Suncorp to work at somewhere else, when I reach out to them to say, hey, I was doing data engineering, I was doing recommendation system, all of those things, it was an easy pitch because those people already knew about me. They knew what I could do. They knew what I could deliver, and they understood that I always deliver. So in the early days, it was really easy within that. But the challenges will start arise. And I think this is one thing that a lot of people, technical professional in the large enterprise may resonate as they try to start their own thing, is that within your bubble, and I call it a bubble, like circle bubble, it was very easy because people know you, people understand you, people know exactly what you can do and deliver. But then if you are running a business, you can't forever rely on that personal network that you had in the first, but you have to expand it. And that is where the challenges arose. And that's the time that I had to start thinking about marketing, networking, promoting myself, be a salesperson, no longer just hide behind the screen and do the thing. Get out there on social media, get out there on LinkedIn, talking, posting, commenting. That is when the real challenge actually started to kick in. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess in your early part of your career, what were your kind of biggest fears and barriers you struggled with then when you was in that early stage and you thought perhaps I might want to, expand my borders really and kind of put myself out there?
I would say is that how to get out there to market and promote myself, right? The first thing first, it was like, did I have anything new to say? Did I have anything interesting to say? I mean, everything that I thought I wanted to say is already said by all different kind of people on the internet and on the social media already. So that was one thing. And then the second thing is that how people would judge me if I were to say anything. Like, would people judge me on my grammar of what I write? Would people judge me on my idea of what I wrote? Would people judge me that I say something silly, stupid, or maybe not even intelligent enough? Right? So those are the things that actually I had to overcome before even trying to market and promote myself, before I try to sell my services. So those were the things. In fact, to some extent, and that reminded me, right, very, very, this first time when I was trying to get active on LinkedIn, is like, I spend maybe half a day to write a bloody post, put it aside, review it, I don't know how many 100,000 times before I press the button to post it. To a certain extent, as I was doing that a little bit more, as I was writing comment and engaging with the potential prospect, I was like, the fear of being judged and the fear of not doing correctly and fear like I was not a good salesperson and know how to engage people was at that very moment that it's still stuck in my head.
Yeah.
And over the years, I had to do so many things to overcome a lot of those things.
100%, because I went through a similar journey, and obviously sales is my job essentially, and you still get that fear. You press the button on when you do a comment, and all of a sudden you just have this regret, this fear, this anxiety. You don't want to look silly, and yeah, it's a struggle. I guess when with yourself, then what were the kind of first small steps you then took to kind of build your confidence on how you could communicate like that?
Well, there were actually 3 things that I did. So number one, I was starting to posting more on LinkedIn. And I chose LinkedIn to start with is because to a certain extent, to a large extent, LinkedIn is a professional place. So what I equally mean is that a lot of time people are self-regulated. So it's very rare that people will attack you because their professional identity is associated with them on LinkedIn, and they tend to be a lot more careful. So that was number one. I was posting a lot more on LinkedIn. Number two, I was equally commenting and engaging with a lot more people on LinkedIn. I no longer had, and I was commenting and engaging quite often and quite a lot, to the extent that I no longer have the fear of that. Am I crossing the rank to engage with the CEO of CDA, now I don't have that fear anymore. That is probably one of the fear that a lot of people would have when they are still within the big corporate. It's like you have layers and layers and layers of the hierarchy, and you're not supposed to jump over multiple layers to talk to the CEO, right? Unless in very special circumstances. But I think commenting on the social media helped me to remove that fear, and that make it so much easier for me to do many other things. So that was the second thing that I did. The third thing that I did was actually started a podcast. So I started a podcast called The Analytics Show 5-6 years ago. I was one of the few people in the country starting the analytic data, advanced analytic podcast. And part of the reason why I started a podcast is that I knew that I was not a good communicator. I knew that I was not good in marketing and selling. So I thought that podcasting was a safer way to market and promote and engaging with people, especially with the senior executive. Also, podcasting is like I always thought that, and I always put it in a way that podcasting is like a stepping stone to public speaking. If I try to go out there and do public speaking, I would totally shit myself,
Yeah.
right? so podcasting was like a safer way, and especially I kind of like into screen, so the fear is a lot different. So podcasting really changed everything for me. It built the confidence, it built the communication, it built the ability and the understanding to ask questions. And it set up a lot of other things that I have been able to do over the years. So if I were to use that in the words of the great Steve Jobs, is that sometimes it is about connecting the dots with forward looking. Like I didn't know what podcasting would actually bring to me, other than I thought it was a way for me to improve, to convert, to transition from technical professional to more of a marketer, of a salespeople, and improve my communication in the way. The truth and the reality and what it turned out is that it actually opened up so many paths and so many opportunities, including one of these, which is being a podcast guest in your podcast. So should I have not done those steps, none of these, including this very moment with you right here, would have happened.
Exactly. I think one thing you mentioned to me off air was that a lot of people underestimate how much credibility actually comes from their employer's brands. What happens to someone when they leave a big corporate and suddenly they have to stand up on their own?
Yeah. So a couple of things that I discovered is that I think, I don't know whether the listener or you agree or not, but a couple of things that I discovered and I observed over the years is that it's so easy to feel like you own the world when you are a senior executive at a very large corporate. And what you will find is that lots of people want to get close to you. Lots of people will do what you want them to do. Lots of people will invite you to conference, podcast, dinner, and everything. However, some people, myself included, is that as you leave that corporate world, suddenly a lot of things change. It's so much, forget about being invited for dinner. I think even trying to get people out for coffee so that you can provide them the very same services that you are wanting now to provide at your own company versus to what you were providing, which is exactly the same services from this last corporate that you used to work at. The tone change entirely is a lot harder. And that part of the reason of that change is because the brand identity that you are associated with, it's not because of your skills suddenly deteriorate just because you work for a smaller company or work for yourself. Not because that you know you are outdated, you're still doing the same thing, but it's actually that brand identity that associate with you when you work for the corporate. That is what I found. And that's why I always think that it's so important to safeguard yourself and protect it in certain way, making sure that as you are leaving, as you are transitioning in your career, you will be able to smooth it out.
Yeah. And obviously we're speaking about sort of creating an identity, maybe on LinkedIn, building out your brand or your own personal brand. What kind of role does the AI tools, things like ChatGPT, play in helping sort of introverts or people who aren't that confident communicate and express themselves? And I guess for me, one of the things obviously that probably most people have noticed now is that you go onto LinkedIn, there's a lot of content that is obviously coming out of ChatGPT. How do you stay authentic through that process as well?
So I would actually put it into two different ways and two different perspectives. The first thing first, I heartily agree with you. There is so much more content on all different kinds of social media platforms. And to a certain extent, a lot of those things are AI slop. I heartily agree. But I want to break that view and also into two different levels. The first thing first is that ChatGPT or AI has made it so much easier for people to create content. Where I actually really think, from my experience of bootstrapping and scaling Engage.ai, what I observed is that it is actually still the marketer and the salespeople who are so comfortable creating content, promoting, marketing, product services themselves, etc., that are actually the one who is fully utilizing AI to do those things. That's why a lot of those content are now multiplied. On the other hand, the technical professional who are not comfortable, who are still not necessarily comfortable in promoting, marketing themselves, are not necessarily to be creating a lot of those content. Now, if you really combine and put those two things together and also really go back to what I said earlier, right, is that the very first thing that a lot of the technical professionals that need to overcome is that the fear of being judged. The challenges of creating content and also the quality of the content. And that is where I really think that the AI is going to help the technical professional, the data engineer, the AI builder, the algorithm builder, the accountants, the finance guy, the quant people. Because AI actually is going to help these people who are not so used to creating content and promoting them. AI actually will help them to be able to create content. They have all these ideas, all this interesting idea, all this deep technical knowledge in their head. They now can use the AI to create the content for them, help them to create the content, help them to refine the content, and help them to feel comfortable knowing that it has been checked for grammar mistake. It has been checked where the story is interesting, where it has been checked for the content is interesting. I for that reason, I actually think that if you are a technical professional, right, if you're in engineering, software engineering, you have data, this is really your lifetime opportunity to get yourself out there because the tools are now helping you to make a lot of those things a lot easier to do that. So to answer your question, yes, there are so much more content out there, but I still think that there are so much content out there by the marketer and the salespeople who are already so comfortable in promoting their services, their product, and themselves. But it's the technical people yet to fully take advantage of it. And if they are not doing that, they're going to stay as a technical forever. And you and I know for them to go up the corporate rank, they need to learn how to communicate. They need to learn how to promote and market product services and themselves. And I really think AI can help them to do that a lot.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it can be a vehicle for these guys to get those ideas out when they can normally do that on their own. And the tools there can help them articulate this, pull into a format that's digestible by people. But the ideas and the core ideas are your own. And I think that's where the key is, and utilizing the tools to aid that. So,
Exactly.
Yeah. I guess I wanted just to touch on, obviously you're a founder of businesses. Obviously there's a lot of guys out there who would be listening to this podcast who have got ideas and think, well, actually, yeah, I'd like to start something myself, but I don't know where to start. What are the biggest mistakes you see people make when they're trying to build a startup, and also if they're working full time already in a business?
Yes. Watching the Shark Tank and listen to the big VC guy who tell you quit your job and go 100% all in.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest mistake. And that, in fact, is probably one of the worst decisions that I did in my life. And history also told me that that was a mistake that I made, right? I actually think do not do all of those things. I think the best way to do if you have this idea, especially if you are data people, you're analytic people, and you got this idea that you think you can build with the AI, please do not quit your job, go all in, thinking that the VC is going to give you $5 million because you are going all in and you are going to be the next Zuckerberg. It doesn't happen that way. In fact, some companies are built completely the other way around. Phil Knight from Nike, he worked as an accountant for 5 years, full time, while he was building Nike to build what it is of Nike today, before he quit his full-time job as an accountant to fully focus at Nike. I think it's so important to understand that, because if you leave your corporate job entirely and go all in, you need to think about what if the thing doesn't work out. And if you are in the middle of your career, like you have worked for 10, 20 years, you probably have mortgages, you have a family who's going to pay for a lot of those expenses. Because when stress are adding up, by the mortgages, by the expenses, by all different kind of things, while you are still trying to figure out how to build your startup, build your idea without any funding, it's going to become very messy. It's going to become a challenge every single day. Also, another reason of that is that it's even better if your idea can be built to serve someone within your company, so that you actually know that there is a potential product market fit, so that you know that there is someone is going to buy it. And in fact, maybe that open up many other opportunities in a way that you can work with your employers to build this very product. And they are going to be your first customer. And with the support of the employers, who knows how far this thing could go, right? So that is probably my advice. Don't Don't listen to those big VC and Shark Tank who tell you to quit your job and go 100% all in. The reason why they do that is because they give you money. You are effectively working for them. And of course, they are going to want you to go all in because they want you to multiply the money for them, right? So that has been that is what I really think.
So I guess then for yourself, then, if you are, a data scientist or a data engineer maybe, and you've got an idea, what do you think are the first practical steps you would recommend taking? So you mentioned there maybe trying to engage with someone in your current company to see if there's an opportunity to do something internally. What are those kind of key steps you think that person needs to make to kind of start that journey off?
I think that just try to build a very simple MVP. So I think one of the challenges that the data engineer, or if you are in the analytic in data, the big challenge that you will have is that you're not exactly a full stack developer. So you don't really quite know how to build a web application, the front end or the back end. So that become a challenge, right? Like how exactly do you create this product? But equally on the other side of the coin is that you know data well, you know analytic well, and a lot of those knowledges are transferable to understand AI better than the full stack engineer. So what I would do is that the first step is create an MVP. Create an MVP on the Microsoft Excel or Google spreadsheet and create an MVP in whatever way that you can do. And with the vibe coding tools are now readily available, a lot of the programming skill set that you have as a data scientist, as a mathematician, is actually transferable to build the MVP with the vibe coding tool, right? So that is the first step. The second step, in fact, is try to sell it. In fact, I would actually swap this two steps. Try to sell the idea first, it's to see whether people actually want to buy it. When you are selling it, don't simply just ask, hey, if I do this, if I build this, will that solve your problem? Will you pay for it? Please don't make the same mistake that I did.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you 99% of the people will say, yeah, Jason, go and do it. Yeah, Adam, go and do it. Yeah, I would love to use it. Everyone actually lies. They actually don't want to, they don't want to they don't want to make that conversation uncomfortable by rejecting you. So you need to ask questions in very different way. And one of the way that I would recommend is that reading this book called The Mom Test. It really shows you the way of like how to ask questions to really get insights of the things that you want to build. So ask question, try to sell it first, and then only you build it, and then make sure that these people that you are targeting, and make sure you are super targeting, get them to try to even pay for $10 or even $5 or even $50 for a lifetime deal. Because if people are willing to pay for it, even just for a small amount, it is significantly a lot better than just saying, I will reuse it as a promise. Right? And perhaps consider finding partner with someone else, like someone like yourself who is good in marketing, who is good in selling. I think two brain works better than one brain.
Yeah. Excellent. So Jason, like we obviously covered quite a bit in this episode, but if there's one piece of advice you could give to someone who was in your same position many years ago, working in an enterprise, what would that advice look like?
Get out there and be comfortable in communicating, in marketing, and promoting yourself.
Excellent.
I think that would be the advice that I would, if there's a time machine that I can take to go back, that is really one thing that I would do and I tell myself. Because a lot of the great things only come out when people actually know your existence, when people actually know and understand what you can deliver. Therefore, the only way to achieve that is when you start telling people what you can do. You don't necessarily have to go out there and do podcasts as a guest, or you don't have to do public speaking to start with. I mean, I think that's probably one of the mistakes that people make is that they just try to go to aim for the big stage right from the beginning. There are multiple ways you can do it, right? Is that write article, write things that you can share internally. Start small, start with small audience, start with the things that you can do that you're comfortable. But the key is you need to know how to communicate. And from there, you work your way out to a bigger stage. Like say, for example, writing internally to writing externally to writing and posting on social media, then to start doing a little bit more speaking as a podcast guest, or maybe creating YouTube video, all the sort of things. You can work your way out and practice on that. That is what I would suggest for the technical professional.
Exactly. Well, it's been really great to have you on, Jason. What's next for you on your journey?
I am doing two things. So at the moment, the first thing first is I am a fractional AI advisor for some companies and also the tech startups. So basically, I help them to build and scale their AI product for more to have more user and paying customer. So that is the first thing. And then the second thing is that I am working on this idea of providing AI employees to mid-size enterprise where the AI employees will help them to do a lot of the mundane tasks that they have to do repetitively, like daily, weekly, or monthly, that they are not negotiable, they are important, but they are time suck. So that is the second thing, that the idea of the AI employee with certain automation and AI can resolve a lot of those things. So I'm super excited about the second one, about I'm advising some company to build and scale their AI product.
No, that sounds really cool. Where can people follow your work and your writing and connect with you?
Find me on LinkedIn, Jason Tan. I am the one who has got the top voice badge. To my surprise, I actually still have no idea why LinkedIn give me the top voice badge.
Right, okay.
I think maybe because I'm just commenting and posting too much. But joke aside, find me on LinkedIn or find me on Substack, jpc10.substack.com. You can actually find the link to my Substack article from my LinkedIn account, LinkedIn profile as well, where effectively I write and share practical tips on exactly how I bootstrap and scale Engage.ai to 100,000 users without a single dollar from the VC. I literally share everything with the exact step on all kind of things in building AI and scaling AI product.
Excellent. So what I'll do is I'll get some notes put in the comments and show notes section. So just check that out if you want to follow that. And I do highly recommend connecting with Jason and following him on LinkedIn. Some really cool stuff he shares on there. So Jason, really appreciate you spending the time to have a chat with me today. Thanks for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me. I love to be on your podcast. So thanks for having me. I look forward to see how more people are coming to your podcast, especially in the data analytics sector, in the advanced analytics sector, from the AI background. Tell your channel to tell all the wonderful things that they do.
Exactly. And the reason we connected was because I think you commented on one of my episodes a few months back, and we just started having a conversation after that. So honestly, getting engagement out there, building your network is so important these days, especially in such a competitive market that we're finding at the moment. So definitely get yourself out there. And if you need advice on that, me and Jason are always happy to help. So
exactly. Yeah. I was going to say, I actually remember what that post and who is that gentleman. I believe his first name is Victor. I don't remember his last name, but he is the head of AI at Quantum Consulting. So that's how we got connected.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Well, look, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe the episode. That helps the channel grow. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Adam.
Bye-bye.